Hey, I'm in the Castro monsters, and when it comes to noodles in Japan, I mean, you're spoiled with so much choice. You're just asking yourself, what do I feel like eating? What's the difference? Oh my god. So in this video, I'm gonna compare three. Now, the three top ones, your ramen noodles that are these egg noodles. You've got the buckwheat soba noodles, and you've got the wheat flour udon noodles. It's gonna be slightly educational. You're gonna know all about these noodles, and whenever you got the craving, you know which one to eat, come with me, let's go. Gonna hit up the first udon spot, which is Hanamura, and this is like a traditional kind of setup where you can go through the counter and just pick up any kind of tempura that you like, veggies, a little bit of meat, and that's the traditional setup for an udon restaurant. I'm so happy that I'm stumbling upon this place. Now I'm not gonna get any of the tempura, I just wanna get the udon. It's all about the noodles, baby. But this is a very cool setup. It's different to other noodle joints. Let's check it out. That egg everywhere, and let's look at the lava. Boom, get it all over. Oh, now we got that nice yellow egginess covering all the noodles. Give it a mix with the broth, nice and warm too. Broth is nice and warm. Let's go in these noodles. I mean, look how thick it is now. They're made from wheat flour, and it's just a bit of water in the mix when they're making the noodles to get that really thick consistency, and they also cut it thick, like nice and wide. Hence this wobbly, like really thick action that's going on here. And let's just try it. It's just like squeeching in my mouth, just like chick 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 everywhere. It's so gummy and bouncy. It's so unique with this noodle, only this one. Your mouth feels crazy. It's so thick and you can just chew for days. I love it. Go again, just stick with the noodles. I mean, I'm gonna say it's about every type of noodle, but this is honestly like one of my favorite ones. It's so thick, you get that craving for it. You're like, oh, I want that mouthful. I want those thick noodles just squishing around in my mouth, you know? Oh, the broth is fantastic. This soy sauce, like really salty and beefy broth, amazing. I think that's where they cook this delicate, melt in your mouth beef. Let's give this a go, can't wait. Soy sauce and beef is like a match made in heaven. Salty with a really umami beef flavor, and spring onions. Yes, onion flavor with salty beef. I will say that udon is super satisfying because you feel like you're having a proper meal. You're chewing through it. It's nice and thick, and it goes down and sits nice, and you know, they're not like these thin little noodles. Like you feel like you're eating something, you know what I'm saying? So good. Even the broth became a little bit milky from the egg. It just got super thick. Nice. Oh man, that udon place was so cheap, man, like 500 yen, and super good. Exactly what I wanted. It fulfilled my expectations, maybe even more. It was great value for great deliciousness. On to the next one. He's making it fresh to order, guys. I feel so lucky. Just handmade, pure artistry going on here just for my order. It's like 700 yen, and I get this guy doing an amazing job with so many years, hundreds of years of tradition and labor intensive artistry going on here, honestly. So he's got different sticks here. This orange one that I'm pointing at here, he applied more pressure towards the end of the process, and he was flattening it out more and more, and it's a very similar process to making some sort of pasta or something. He's got the different tools of the trade here, different pressure applied for the different stages of making the soba noodles, and it looks like he's using a lot of the flour over here that actually looks like just the wheat flour because it's quite white. So maybe the noodles are made from the buckwheat, but mixing it with just the normal wheat flour, which is quite common with soba noodles. Here he's getting the big chopping board out and he's flouring it up, and he's gonna put the rolled out dough here, chuck it on there, and he's gonna get that big ass knife with kind of like a measuring board and just really hunk down on it until it hits the bottom of the chop board, and you can hear it bunk, 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 bunk. I guess that's how he knows that he's made a clean cut and it went all the way through, and he gets a nice solid straight thin noodle. Oh, and what a feast this is, guys. I got this big tea kettle looking thing here, which the man told me is a kind of soup. So basically I get this sauce, which is a soy based sauce, usually with mirin or some sort of variation like that, and you just pour it into here. This acts as the dipping sauce, and I'm just gonna get some of this wasabi, put it in there, some of these spring onions, and some of this relish, this horseradish. I dunk these noodles into the sauce, finish it, and when it's done, this is my soup. It's kind of like a dessert, and I have to pour it into the sauce base here and then drink it. What a procedure. So traditional. I mean, I love this little cozy place. Talk about traditional. This is what I live life for, to experience humankind in all its forms. Dip the sauce in, baby. It's cold, but the texture is amazing. It's still got that chewiness, you know, it's not soggy at all. And maybe because of the temperature, when it cools down, it kind of hardens a little bit. I mean, I don't have this often, but this is definitely the best one I've had after watching that guy labor away and make my dinner. I mean, I'm really appreciating it. The texture is incredible. I've not had many noodles that has such a beautiful fresh texture. Usually when you make like fresh pasta or noodles, they're a little bit soggy, but these are definitely not, and I think that's thanks to the buckwheat. Yes, the gluten-free buckwheat flour that they use to make these noodles. I'm definitely a fan. Usually I like my food quite hot, and I don't usually go for soba if I'm completely honest, but this is absolutely divine, really. This ends up being kind of like a sushi sauce mixture that I usually make it with the wasabi, the soy sauce, maybe a little bit of mirin in there, the rice wine. Look at these beautiful noodles. And look at the color, it's actually quite light as well for these buckwheat noodles. Usually they're darker, slightly purple, but these are quite light. They're looking very beautiful. This sauce is definitely doing it though. It needed this or some other form of really flavorful sauce, because the flavor of these noodles, it's not the strongest, if I'm honest. It tastes really healthy for you, if that makes sense. Kind of gluten-free, vegan-friendly noodle with like not too much taste, and super healthy for you. It's got all these vitamins, and it's one of the healthiest noodles you can have. But you definitely need this sauce to give it a bit of flavor and saltiness. put the last bit of sauce in here. Ooh, it smells like milky almost, like barley or something, some stewed barley. Put it into this salty base. Oh guys, I don't know what that is. I got no idea. It's kind of like a barley soup or something, but there's no veggies inside. Maybe there's some... No, there's no veggies at the bottom, so I don't really know what it is, but it goes well with the soy sauce. It's good. Ramen time at Machida Shoten, my favorite chain. Yes, it's a chain, but that doesn't mean that it's not good. Actually, it's super delicious, really convenient. Just walk in, you put the money into the vending machine, choose what you want, and you gotta get the gyoza with the ramen, right? So I'm just gonna get the standard Tonkotsu Ramen with some pork and the egg. Sit down, check it out. So we're gonna get the gyoza because it goes so well with the ramen, and plus I'm so hungry. You can make your own sauce with soy sauce, a little bit of vinegar, some of that chili oil, and because I love my chili, man, I just had to put some of that little chili paste that they got available here, which is really good. They also got garlic paste. Oh, and start with the entree, this gyoza, after dipping it into that lovely sauce. So damn juicy. Oh goodness, and the vinegar really cuts through. It's so brilliant with the combination of soy sauce and that really porky inside and spring onions. Oh goodness, and let's start with the soup, guys. I mean, look at this creamy like consistency. I mean, there's no milk or cream in this whatsoever. How it gets this is from steaming for hours. The pork bones and fat gets that creamy whiteness is from the collagen that comes out of the foot of the pig. Sounds not so pleasant, but I'm telling you, it's the absolute essence of the pig and its umaminess. And you could mistake this for like a carbonara or some sort of creamy mushroom sauce. I mean, look how thick this is, man. It's unbelievable. I love it every time. This is my favorite part of the whole ramen experience. It's so salty and beautiful and umami. The reason why it's so salty is because the soy sauce. So basically they get that broth and they put it over this little pour of this little mixture of soy sauce and mirin and a whole bunch of other things. So you get that salty base plus the really salty porky broth. I'm gonna start with this creamy egg, guys. I mean, it's so sticky and orange. I mean, it's golden. Juiciness. So good. And how they get that effect with this like really sticky egg yolk is because it's almost fermented, guys. They soft boil it and then they leave the egg after they take it out of the shell in this bath of salt and mirin, and they leave it for overnight, and that sauce just like does its magic and leaves that egg yolk to become this beautiful creamy caramel consistency. Guys, the pork. I can't even hold it. It's falling off my sticks. Look. Just utterly gives way in your mouth. Like, I'm pretty sure a baby, like really old people with no teeth, can eat this pork. The threads just fall apart. You can just move it around with your tongue and digest it, and you're sweet. Then we get to the noodles. It's yellow, yes, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it has egg in it, even though it can. It gets its yellowness from kansui, which is really alkaline water, and it gives it that little yellowy tinge, but you could also put eggs, but basically it's just wheat flour with water and salt. These are really thick cut ramen noodles, unlike my Hakata ramen from Fukuoka. If you want to check that out, it's right here. Fukuoka was such a good trip, and that Hakata ramen was amazing. Please do check it out. But anyways, these are really cut thick. I mean, almost as thick as like the udon noodles, but not quite as thick. And the consistency, I can tell, is quite al dente already. It's got a bit of a bite to it. Let's see if I'm right. Okay. Al dente, al dente, al dente. To the tooth, to the tooth, to the tooth. It's got that bite. It's almost like you're eating chicken strips or something, you know? It's like you have to like chew through it. You're eating, you know what I mean? There's no mistaking, you're gonna chew through the burger, alright? What I also love about it is you can get this huge heap of it. And you get that little creamy little drips coming out and it's just drenched in that. It's almost like a sauce. You can just tackle it. It's really, really satisfying. You're gonna leave here knowing that you've had a fulfilling meal. Try the nori, the seaweed sheets, which I kind of find weird that they put it inside the soup and make it all soggy, because they're quite crunchy otherwise, but at least it's like half soggy, half crunch. Best of both worlds. So really similar to the udon noodles, but a lot of the times they do use egg. Not quite sure if this one uses egg or not, but their flavor is amazing. I love quail eggs and I'm just gonna go one bite. The same thing, just as creamy as the normal egg. Ramen is super satisfying. I mean, it's summer right now, it's hottest outside. I really don't care. Because anyways, this soup just ended up being like a straight up sauce. It's so damn thick and it just coats every single noodle.